Howdy, folks. Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer. And just as the title says, I am back from vacation. And instead of doing just a regular video today, I thought, well, to just kind of get back into the swing of things, I'll do a live. Now, I didn't announce it ahead of time. So a lot of you are going to be watching this on playback because you probably didn't have any idea that I was going to jump into a live. I did give like, I don't know, something like a half an hour, notice or whatever. It should have sent out a notification, but regardless, I don't expect a lot of people jumping in here right away. Maybe later when they get off of work or whatever, and they see that I'm live, they might jump in. But other than that, you're probably going to see it on as a replay. So we're gonna talk about a few things here, and I'm just gonna do it like I would do a regular video. And then if people do jump in, that's just a bonus. So yes, the wife had like 8 days off for her vacation. Hey, Mistra. I didn't know if anybody was going to jump in because I didn't really. It was kind of a non-planned live here, so. But I figured just back from vacation, I'll just do a live because it's just, I can just jump into a few different topics and stuff like that. So as I was saying, yeah, the wife had 8 days off, so I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna focus all my energy on my wife. I'm just gonna give her, the time with me to do whatever it is that she wants to do. She's the one that I'm retired now. She works, so when she's off work, I want to give her the full amount of my time to go and do things, whatever it is, do chores around the house, watch TV, watch movies, go to dinner, whatever it is. So that's what I did. And I'm glad I did. We had a great time. We didn't go anywhere. We were thinking about going to Vegas. But luckily it was actually her that caught it. And it should have been me that caught it. The NFL draft was actually happening in Vegas. At the time we were going to go earlier in the week or last weekend or whatever it was. She's like, yeah, the draft is going and they're doing it in Vegas or whatever. And I was like, oh shit, we wouldn't have been able to get a room anyway. And if we were able to get one, it would be ridiculously overpriced because the draft was in town. So we ended up not doing that. So we ended up just going, doing a bunch of things locally. Went to some different restaurants we haven't been to. We did a lot of things we wanted to get caught up on around the house, did a lot of shopping, that kind of stuff. My wife is like my passion for gaming is equal to her passion for cooking. And so she has like all these cookbooks. I buy her all the themed cookbooks, and so she made a couple things out of this is the Dungeons and Dragons Heroes Feast book. And she made out of this one, she made it's even on the back here. She made the Sword Coast Seafood Bouillabaisse. And she did it with or something like that. I think that was the one. Or maybe that's not it. It was a fish dish, and she used tilapia. They said trout in this book, and I hate trout. Trout is a pain in the ass. It's full of bones all the time. No matter what you try to do, you're always going to get little pin bones and stuff, which can get caught in your freaking throat and all this. And it's like, no, bullshit. No. So, and that was delicious. And she also made there was like a spinach salad or something like that, including the dressing that she had to make for it and all that. And that was all fantastic. And then she also made one out of the Game of Thrones book. This is the Game of Thrones cookbook. A Feast of Ice and Fire, the official companion cookbook. And she made like an egg and cheese and onion or something like that dish, like in a pie thing, but it's more like a quiche or something like that. She made that, and she made some sauteed carrots and stuff like that. And that was delicious. So both of them were fantastic meals. So we did, she did a lot. She had to get special ingredients to make some of the stuff. So we did shopping for that and all that. And it was, and we got caught up on movies. We watched the Batman and Spider-Man No Way Home, and both I would say the Spider-Man movie was much better than the Batman movie. Um, the Batman movie felt like it was, for me, it was way too long. I think they were about the same amount of time, but hey, IP config is here. Hey, I think the Batman movie for me felt like it was way too long. It was felt like it was dragging on and everything, and I think they might have even been about the same amount of time. They were both about 3-hour movies or something, and the Spider-Man one kind of, zipped through, whereas the Batman one felt like it was dragging on. And I don't know about you guys, but uh, I did not. I what's his name, Patterson or whatever, Pattinson, that played Batman. I actually thought he did a pretty good job as Batman. I don't know that I bought him as Bruce Wayne. I don't think he did a very good job as Bruce Wayne. And that may not be necessarily his fault. It may just be the casting decision and the way the director had him portray the role of Bruce Wayne. I didn't like that version of Bruce Wayne that he portrayed in the movie. So I don't know how you guys felt about those two movies, but yeah, the Spider-Man one was excellent. Hey, DM James is here, and Lindis Jones. um, yeah, Lindis. I guess emo is a way to put it. Uh, let's see here. Yeah, it's kind of emo, and it's definitely meant to be darker, which is fine with me and all that. And he's supposed to be like brooding and all that, which was fine when he was as Batman. When he went into Bruce Wayne, everything I know about Bruce Wayne from everything I've ever seen and read, the few comics that I've read and everything else, is he's kind of the dashing billionaire, playboy, charming guy. And in this movie, he was not that. So that could just be, again, a director's decision too. Mister says it's definitely about pacing and if you're invested. If I'm watching a movie that annoys or lets me, it feels like it's never ending. Yeah, it just I'm not sure why it felt like it drug for me, but um, it wasn't bad, but it definitely wasn't as good as far as I'm concerned as the Spider-Man No Way Home. DM James says I stopped watching supers movies a decade or more ago, except for Deadpool. Well, Deadpool is fantastic. I mean, I'm waiting for the next Deadpool. I mean, that is, for me, Deadpool was like premium. Hey, Lapis is here too. Is premium entertainment. The two Deadpool movies were, I loved both of them. Um, so yeah, we just did all kinds of random shit, and we got caught up on Moon Knight, which, if you're not following Moon Knight, the last couple episodes, man, they were kind of a mind bender. I think I've got it figured out. I think, but it's a wild ride. Let me tell you, I'm enjoying it. I'm not saying I'm not enjoying it, but it's definitely. That's right, Lindis. That's right. I wasn't even thinking. Yeah, yeah. Good old Fort Sill right there, King of Battle, Field Artillery, Hell from Above, Fire for Effect. My group just beat L3 and are headed from the Principality of Ulick to Jeff. Nice. So L3, the is that the Dwarven Delve module that's in the anniversary box set? That the only way that you can get is yeah. Yeah, that Deep Dwarven Delve, I believe, is the. Tell me if I'm wrong on that title. It should be Deep Dwarven Delve. And I didn't Google that. That's just, I'm pretty sure L3 was. It's a green cover. The only way you could get it was in the anniversary box set, which I've shown here before on a live. I've shown the. Oh, you can get it print on demand now? Ah, well, there goes the collectibles price for because the price of that was through the roof because there was only one way you could get it, and that was when in that collector's box set, anniversary box set. So that's probably gonna if you can get it print on demand now, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that, but um, yeah, I have never read that module actually. I've always been kind of keeping it pristine because of its collectability. Now that I know I can get it print on demand, I'm going to be ordering one that I can use and abuse for $11. And if I want to run my players through it or whatever, and I can keep my other one nice in the collectibles in the box. So thanks for that heads up there, James. Appreciate that. Mistress says Moon Knight is weird but fun. I would absolutely agree with that description. I think he's doing a hell of a job. The I can't think of his name. The actor, um, he's playing two different personalities, two different accents. Uh, it's crazy, and he's doing a fantastic job with it. So yeah, I got no problems with that. So yeah, that's basically what we did on our vacation. We just did a whole cornucopia of different things. Um, I went and upgraded my. I have Xfinity for my internet, and I had to upgrade the gateway, basically their modem, their cable modem or whatever, um, to the because I have 1.2 gigabyte service, and I wasn't getting that because that gateway I had was limited to 900. So I went and upgraded to the new white one, and they went from for whatever reason they changed the color of the gateway from gray to white, and but the cool part about it is it has two more ports in the back for hardwire for PCs and stuff, so I can like put my laptop and actually hardwire it so I'm not running off the Wi-Fi, get better speed that way and all that. So I can do a few different things with that. So that's one of the little I had to do that, Aaron. Those kinds of things that we'd been putting off or whatever. We got a lot of that stuff accomplished. So um, that was good. How was everybody else these last few days? Because yeah, I haven't seen you guys in a few days, so I figured I'll ask you guys, how are you all doing? We got some gaming news just to talk about here, that's for sure. And and then I got some show and tell stuff here. Was gonna go through. I pulled out the old uh, the old options books, the Dungeons and Dragons options books from second edition. Some of you may not have seen those before, so yeah. Hey, Mistra, what do you think about the Square Enix deal? So, for those of you that don't know, Square Enix is selling off some of their franchises, including Tomb Raider. They're selling off Tomb Raider and what's the other? Maybe Assassin's Creed. Uh, let's see here. To the Embracer Group um, is who they sold them to. Um, it's scooping up Square Enix's Tomb Raider and Marvel's Avengers Studios. I thought though also were they the ones that I thought they were Assassin's Creed was on there too, but I don't see that here. There's Deus Ex. Deus Ex was one of them I think that's going too. So yeah, there's hey, Chupa's here. Thanks, Chupa. Um Let me go back up here and get caught up here. Mistress is mostly good, thanks. It's good to hear. James says I've been digging into Burning Wheel Gold this week. What is Burning Wheel Gold? I have to look that up. Linda says saw Uncharted. I have not seen Uncharted yet. Yeah, I might watch that on demand because that actually looks not half bad for a video game movie. So I might check that one up. Um, Mistress says, I think it was fine talking about the Square Enix deal because of how they were apparently getting only a 3% return on investment, which isn't good money. Yeah, if that's all they were getting on some of their franchises, I understand that business is business. I thought they were one of the more solvent companies um, that wouldn't need to be thinking about doing that kind of stuff. But then I read that they want to get into cryptocurrency games and stuff like that, and they need capital to do that. So it sounds like they may be selling off some of their franchises to get capital to invest in crypto stuff and NFT games and stuff like that. So, hey, Colin, vacation was great. Uh, yeah, I was just talking all about it, and we did got a lot of stuff accomplished that we wanted to get done. Uh, had a real relaxing time. It was fantastic. So, Mr. says, "Hey, Alex Padilla is here. Um, just hope those games won't get any worse." Yeah, for people that like the franchises, like the first Tomb Raider, the first Tomb Raider of the modern era, there was excellent. So I didn't play the second one, but DM James says I'm looking forward to watching The Northman. I am too, and I don't know if that's one. My wife doesn't like, isn't big on like anything where there's a lot of gore. She would not have watched Game of Thrones or any of that stuff. So I end up those are things I end up watching by myself. And The Northman may be just like that. I have a feeling. So, Mister says hate NFTs. Yeah, I'm with you there, Mister. I don't see the appeal, and I'm not a big risk taker, so it's not for me. Um, Lapsus says, I wanted the Avengers game to be good, but it sounds like it had too many little problems that add up. Not surprisingly, it did poorly. Colin says, all three Tomb Raider reboot games are great. Second, 2 and 3 don't have many quick time events. Okay, so that would be my only complaint about the first one of the reboot ones. I thought there was too many quick time events in it. I felt more like I was watching a movie some of the time than I was playing a game. So you're saying that 2 and 3 they kind of did away with some of that because maybe that was because people voiced their opinion and didn't care for it. So yeah, I hope it doesn't hurt those franchises and everything. But hey, then Blizzard announced out of the blue. Did you guys see that they announced a new? They're bringing out a new mobile game, I guess. Which I mean, I don't think we should be surprised because I think we all knew that they were working on something like that. But uh, I don't know about their timing. Maybe they're trying to do it to bump the stock price. They announced it to bump their stock price, maybe because it's been tanking and they took a huge financial hit thanks to old Bobby Kotick. See if I can find that one here. Now the other thing that Square Enix says it's selling in the announcement: Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, and Thief, the Thief franchise, and the Thief franchise is one of my favorite franchises. At least the first two are the original Thieves, not the reboot, but the two Thief, and the second one, the Metal Age, I think it was called. Those are legendary games, as far as I'm concerned. Um, um, so, Colin, has that already dropped? Because today's the 3rd. Have they already dropped that? Because I was waiting till tomorrow. I haven't gone on Steam today. Um, let's see here. I gotta get caught up here. Um, Linda says I started watching Game of Thrones and thought I was watching porn with an interesting story. Yeah, I mean, hey, it. One of the things I liked about it, it was an adult themed representation of the Middle Ages as I envisioned them, uh, and everything that involved. So yeah, that's why I liked it. I like the realistic battles and the drinking and the sex and the whole shittery, the dragons, magic, all of it, and that you don't feel like they censored any part of that, how that lifestyle back in in the Middle Ages would have been. So let's see here. Let's see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Mr. said she saw the new mobile. It looks bad even for a mobile game. Yeah, I couldn't be less interested in the Blizzard mobile game, but I figured I would put it out here for anybody that hadn't heard about it yet that it got announced. So, oh, Colin, you're 8 hours ahead. That could be why it dropped. I'm gonna look right now. Let's go to the store. Yeah, see right now on for me. Oh, there it is. Midweek Madness. It goes through May 5th. Okay. Yeah, they don't even have that as the headline. The headline, they've got Going Rogue. They've got a bunch of games that are all stealth games that are on sale, and then they down below they have the May the 4th sale. I think I have everything in the Star Wars library. I think I have everything. I don't think there's anything left for me to buy, but I can double check here. It looks like I have everything in my library. Well, there's a DLC. Well, I don't give a shit about the DLCs for the Old Republic for the MMO. Let's see. Yeah. Everything else, the only stuff I don't have is I don't have Star Wars Pinball. I don't have that. So, well, that's VR anyway. So, there is the Force Awakens Lego Force Awakens I do not have. And everything. Oh, Shadows of the Empire. I don't have that in my. For some reason, I don't have that in my. Let's see here. Is that on sale? Let's see. Because that one's not showing. There's the Old Republic, Shadows of the Empire. But why is it not giving me a price? The hell? There's no price listed. It has add to your wish list, follow, ignore. Is it not available anymore for purchase? That's my guess. There's no way for me to buy it. Maybe that's why I don't have it in my. Yeah, and the Lego Star Wars, that's not on there's the Skywalker Saga. I don't have that one either, and that one's not on sale. So, yeah. So I have pretty much everything that I'd want. So, hey, Bastille's here. Lindis, we talked about the D&D movie Honor Among Thieves is set to be released next March. I'm hoping that it is thief related, like the thief class of original, first edition AD&D. I'm hoping it's good as well. Mr. says, my guess is it was pulled from the store or not released. Yeah, I'm surprised. I think I have that on disc. But yeah, for some reason there's no price on Steam for it. So that's like the only title I don't have, pretty much, it looks like, and the Lego ones. Make sure I didn't miss anything here. I think we're good there. Okay, we're all caught up there. So yeah, I'm back to, let's see, tomorrow I don't have anything scheduled, and then Thursday's alive, and then Friday we should be playing D&D again. We should be playing our old school essentials Dolmenwood stuff back here, so we can get back on track with doing the regular filming schedule with the updates for the campaign and the lives and everything else. So yeah, I'm gonna check GOG Mistra and see if it's there. But if not, I'm pretty sure I've got it on. I have it on disc. So, which I ended up buying a external. I just on a lark, I went on to Amazon and I wanted to see if they had an external DVD reader, for because my rig doesn't have a DVD or a CD bay on it, a drive on it. So and they did. They had an external one. I just hooked it up externally via USB because that was the only way that I could play Star Wars Galaxy because you have to put the original game discs in for it to read to authenticate that you did buy the game originally way back when in 2003 or whenever it came out. So you can play the emulator. It's the only way they get around Disney suing them into non-existence is by basically saying that yes, you originally paid for it. You have the discs, so you can play the emulator. So I had to buy a external for that. So even if there's games like Shadow of the Empire, or any of those old ones that I have discs for, I have a way to play them. So which I was pretty happy about. So let's see here. So I think we're caught up on the chat. So I was gonna go through see if you guys have seen these. I know if DM James is still in here, I'm pretty sure he's seen these. Lindis has probably seen them. There's a few of you that have probably seen these, but maybe not everybody. So these are the old for second edition D&D, AD&D. These are what they called the options books. They came out with these hardback. These are probably, I'm guessing they're 192 pages. I was thinking 200 something. This one is Spells and Magic. And so I think it's kind of safe to say, there's nice artwork and everything in it, but I think a lot of this was another way for them to really nickel and dime everybody with all just flooding the market at the time with all these books and stuff. And I was the ideal demographic for that because I'm a completionist. I want to have all that stuff. So hey, Eddie Green, how are you? And Mike is here. Mike, so you have seen him, Mike. You've never used him, okay? So like this one has in here other spellcasters and stuff. So it gets into like other optional spell rules and stuff like that. Other limitations for bards, paladins, rangers, minor spellcasters. It goes into some different details about stuff you can add to your game and everything. So that was like that you had the spells and magic one. And yeah, I've got I have the original hardback of the Oriental Adventures, and then I did a print on demand one as a backup because it's going to be very collectible. The original one's going to become very collectible. Here's the DM's option. I think it's the only DM option they came out with. This is for high level campaigns. So like with my campaign, I have it set up to where when I take over DMing again and we start back up again, I think all my players were probably 8th or 9th level, and we can go as far as they want to go with their characters, because between this with the high level campaigns rules and the Immortals rules on the BECME stuff on the regular D&D box sets, you had the Masters rules and then the Immortals rules, which were for high level stuff. So between all that, and there's even modules for high level stuff that came out. So when I start DMing again, my characters, if they don't have to worry about capping out, we can keep it going as long as they want to. This is another player's option. This one was combat and tactics. Let's see here. Eddie Green says, I have all the Yellow Spine first edition books, sold all my second edition due to heavy satanic panic censorship, despite folks thinking the new stuff is woke. Yeah. I have all of my my Yellow Spine stuff, and then even the first edition stuff before the Yellow Spine stuff. And then when these came out, I was like, I was in one of those modes where I was like, well, I've got to have, all the rules. And so this was players option combat and tactics, and it went through unarmed combat, so weapon specialization and mastery, um, uh, different options for fighting styles and stuff like that. It goes into critical hits. Um, so there's just additional stuff to add depth to your campaign, your game, or whatever. Um, then the last of the players options was skills and powers. This one I don't have on hardback. I have this on softback. So skills and powers, and that's probably going to be. I haven't even looked through this in a long time. Racial requirements for different character classes. Um, so it goes through um, basically more in depth of each of the classes with additional skills and that they, like uh, proficiencies and stuff like that. And then it has a lot of kits in here um, for different character kits. There's the peasant hero, the noble, the mystic. So yeah, they got the pugilist. So then you got a bunch of non-weapon proficiencies. So yeah, this if between all of this stuff, you could really get bogged down heavy rules heavy, in your gameplay. But it could also, depending upon how you pick and choose, could also add some interesting stuff. So and then they had the Tome of Magic, which wasn't really one of the option books. It was just released right about the same time, and that was just a whole bunch of spells and stuff. So um, yeah, that's all the what I call the extended, like second edition um, uh, set of books there. So, so let's see here. Oh, so now that we were talking about old school D&D and all that, and high level adventures and all that, did you guys see it was actually a news story that hit quite a few places about the guy who's been running his campaign for 40 years? It is What I'm going to do is I'm going to link the YouTube video for you. If I can find it here. Let's see here. Yeah, I had seen him before. I've never met the guy that does it, but his collection, he has like 30,000 minis in his collection, and they're all painted. 30,000. It's kind of crazy. Here we go. So here's the PC Gamer article, and let's go to the YouTube. Let's do this. Copy link. Let's see if this is the right link. See if it works here for you guys. See if that works. It should work for you guys. So that is the YouTube video about the guy who's been running his campaign for 40 years. Pretty crazy. I think he's a college professor in his regular day job, and then the rest of his life is basically his basement. Like, my basement's pretty cool. My basement ain't got shit on his. I mean, he's got 30,000 minis in containers and stuff, and then he's got all the terrain to, like, he can build any type of terrain on his table to represent the playfield. Anything from Arctic to swamps to castles to you name it. He's got it all. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, did any of you guys see that before I linked it? Have you guys heard about that guy? Let's see here. See if it has his name. Yeah, he started in Robert Wardhaw. Robert Wardhaw ran his first game of Dungeons and Dragons as a teenager in 1982 and hasn't stopped. 40 years. I mean, I've been playing for over 40 years. I've been playing since the late 70s, but not one particular campaign um, all the way through. I knew that Frank Mentzner had a campaign that went for over 20 years. Uh, we've been playing at this table for going on 10 years, but we've had three different DMs and at about five different campaigns. Well, mine's one campaign. Jonathan's DM two different campaigns, and I think Brad has DM two different campaigns. So yeah. Um, Mike says I've seen his story a few times. Lapis says that's incredible. Does he have everything cataloged? I can't keep up with 2 or 3 dozen minis. Um, Lapis, go watch that video. It shows his whole setup and everything in there. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, but here's the weird thing about it. Uh, he doesn't let anybody touch any of the minis on the play on the play mat or whatever you want to call it on the battlefield, whatever you want to call it. Once he puts them out, he's the only one that's allowed to move them or touch them or anything like that. He doesn't, and I don't know if that's a protective thing about the minis themselves or if he wants to be the one to control every movement on the battlefield and all that stuff. It even goes into that about on the video that no one else is allowed to touch any of the stuff on the table or whatever. So I've never seen that's the first time I've ever seen that. I'm not criticizing that style. I've just never seen it. Um, in my game, I actually gave out. Probably can't see them on here right now, but I have a bunch of. I've got a holder for them too. I got a bunch of the bamboo back scratchers, and they're perfect for moving minis on the playmat because you can slide it by pushing it and you can pull with the because it's hooked with the back scratcher and you can pull them towards you. And so everybody has their own at the table so that they're not having to lean over each other, especially if that was before COVID. I gave those things out before COVID, but especially with COVID, you don't want people like leaning over right in your face or whatever. And uh, it everybody can move their mini wherever they want to and all that. That's just how we do it. This guy, he don't let anybody touch nothing. So I've never seen that before. But hey, he's been doing it for 40 years. So what do I know? He's been DMing the same campaign for 40 years. So, you know, I can't I can't say boo. Yeah, now on my painted ones, uh, some people I've had and not necessarily the people I'm playing with now, but in my history, I've had people that with the painted ones I would say were disrespectful to people's minis because if a character falls in battle or gets knocked unconscious or whatever, and you knock the mini over to represent that they're down or whatever, that's one thing. But to just go over and like flick it and knock it down and be rough with it, you could chip somebody's paint job that they spend a lot of time painting that mini or whatever. To me, that's disrespectful. You don't do that. You don't you don't pile a bunch of minis all together where some of them are painted where you're going to chip some of the paint off or whatever. That I get that. That's because each and every mini takes a lot of time to paint. Each one's a pain in the ass. So, some people would say it's a labor of love, but for me, especially now as I'm getting older and blinder, painting is a pain in the ass. So I sure as hell don't want somebody going around and messing up my mini after I painted it. So um I Bastille, you just blew my mind, dude. I don't know how I would react to that. Let me get caught up here. Um yeah, Eddie says I'm a sucker for a miniature collection. Yeah, me too. I love the fact people go through the like our DM, he has painted a shitload of his stuff. And his stuff is he's really good at it. So I'm like in awe of his stuff. Um that's just as I've had a few books ruined by Cheeto fingers. Yeah, I had somebody when I was in the army. and I can't. We were all drinking. Everybody was drinking and drunk and whatever. And I had somebody who got pissed off and dumped a bunch of like potato chips in the book and then closed the book and crushed the potato chips. And of course, it all got greasy. Everything, the book got all. I don't know if it was my book. I don't even remember if it was my book or somebody else's. I just remember that they got pissed and they smashed a bunch of stupid shit like that. But Mike says my books I can be more anal with, but my table copies or players can bring their own. Yeah, we've got table copies right there. We call that affectionately we call this the pile of shit on the table. It has basically all the reference materials, the table copies, graph paper, maps, whatever is basically there for the whole group to be able to use. That's called the pile of shit. So anything in the pile of shit is free game. People can, it's table copies and stuff. But Bastille wrote something here that blew my mind. He says, I had a player throw my wyvern figure at another player and the wings broke off. I would have lost my damn mind. I'm none of my players are in here right now, but I can tell you that they know how I would react. I consider everything in my area here, in my tavern, man cave, gaming den, whatever you want to call it. I worked very hard to collect all of this stuff, and everybody's very respectful of it and everything. If somebody did some shit like that, I don't know what I would do. Linda says painting minis is my obsession. Linda's so I have seen some people with some impressive setups on because I belong to some serious Facebook groups where they're like they take like crafting to another dimension of like they've got the stuff to do terrain. They can literally craft make anything they want. Hell, they could probably make their own minis if they want nowadays with 3D printing. They do. But they have full setups with like all these tools and like the Dremel and the lights so they can the magnifying glasses so they can see everything, like full setups and all that. So I'm guessing you must be one of those folks, Lindis, if that's your obsession, because that is some dedication right there. For some reason, I get really particular about making sure I keep track of which book is mine, and we have multiple copies, even though they're the same. I want my specific book. I don't know if mine are marked. All these are marked. As soon as I take one out to play to play in a game, I make sure I put my name and my my Greyhawk 4x4 thing in it. You can tell these kit ones I've never really used in a game. But mine, I usually inside the cover I do my little GH 4x4, and that's how I mark my books and everything. So yeah, I'm pretty specific about that shit too. So I get that. So yeah, and then with dice, I'm pretty particular about my dice too. Because nothing to me is in gaming is more sad than an incomplete set of dice. Like where you bought a set of dice of matching dice and then somehow you've lost one and now you have an incomplete set. That and from my days like 30 years ago of playing, I had so many different sets that I had bought and none of those are complete now. Because over the years I've lost one here, one there. I don't know how many sets I've got that are all incomplete. So ever since then, now I'm really protective and I use my little tea box here. This had tea in it, tea bags, and I use this for my dice now. And it has the separators so you can put all your 8-sideds together, all your 12-sideds together, your 10-sideds, etc. And you can do that in compartments. So that's what I use now to kind of keep track of my stuff. And then I have old Trusty here, which is the one I started my very first D20 from the 70s there. And it's all rounded. It's all rounded over and everything. But one of my buddies made me the little, I got to paint this. he made me a little pedestal for it, and you can't see it on camera, but it says Old Trusty on it, and so this just sits on there like that, and it sits right here on my desk. So, yeah, that's Old Trusty there. Let's see here. What did I miss here? Um, Mike says a lot of my old books are in good shape as I put covers on them, so I could take them to school and such back in the day. Now I feel well. Remember when we used to use old shopping bags? Um, the the brown shopping bags to make book covers out of those. Maybe I'm showing my age, or maybe no one here else here is old enough to remember that. But that's how if you could buy book covers like at school and stuff like that, but you could also make them out of those old shopping bags. And I had some of those still on my books up until not too long ago. I finally got they were all ragged and everything. I finally had to get rid of them. So Eddie Green says, always love the content conversation. Show and tell. Be well, everyone. I got to log on to my Tuesday night game. Okay. See you, Eddie. Appreciate you always jumping in, man. Speaking of which, for those that still love first edition D&D, do yourself a favor and check out Hyperborea from Northwind Games. It's the best independent published game, in my opinion. Yeah, that's one I got to check out, Eddie, for sure. Is that Hyperborea? That looks very interesting. Bastille says, all of my original dice from the BX are missing. I also lost my red basic book. Yeah, that's a bummer, man. I do not have any of the dice from my box sets. Those are long. If I do, I integrated them in with all my other dice, and I wouldn't know which ones go to which box sets. Um. So Yep. Brown bag book covers. My local army recruiter gave out book covers, so I had a lot of those. Damn, I wish I would have had some of those. The from the army recruiter, that would have been cool. I never saw those. That's just as I got a couple of modern D20s from Arneson's estate. I got to go to his funeral, and the family handed them out. Wow. Well, this one here. So I got my little D20 protector here. This little dragon guy here. And this blue one. As a matter of fact, I'm not even gonna take it out of there because I gotta kind of squeeze it in there to get it out. But that blue one, that is a prototype, an original prototype um, that we got at Frank Mensner's house because we used to go to Frank Mensner's. Uh, Gary Con had been there twice, and he used to always have what he called the Franken party at his house the night before Gary Con started, and everybody would go. He basically opened it up to anybody that wanted to come, and he always gave out. He still had cases of these prototypes that dice companies had made for them, and he still had cases of them. So he would put them out in big containers for you to take as you went out the door once you were going to leave or whatever. So I have a D20 and I have a D8 and I have a D4. There's the D8. So here's the D8. That's another prototype. These are from I think the early 80s, maybe earlier. I don't remember. It won't come out on camera, of course. Very good. And there's the D4. So these three I've got the D20 and these two are from Frank Mensner. Those are all prototypes. Yeah, so Frank he got divorced, and in the divorce his wife got the house. So he, as far as I know, won't be doing the Franken parties anymore. We were fortunate enough to get to go, and it was a blast. He had Gary Gygax's original desk, the wood desk that Gary used. Somehow he inherited that thing, and so you got to take a picture at the desk if you wanted to. So I did that. I've got it somewhere. Pictures on my Facebook or somewhere. Hey, Bipedal's here. Yeah, I wish I So Bastille, when you say the funeral was local and public for Arneson, um, where was that at? Was that in like Chicago area or something? I don't remember where or was that up there in Wisconsin? Because I don't remember when he passed and where the funeral was or any of that. Mike says, "Very cool dice. I'm a bit jealous." Oh, St. Paul, Minnesota. That's right. Yeah, because that would have been nice to go to that. Because there's been a documentary about uh, you know, Gygax and Arneson and how the whole idea for D&D came about and all that, and that it was Arneson's Blackmore that was like the first campaign, and then Gary came out with with Greyhawk, and that was the first one that got published. But Blackmore was the first campaign, so I don't know that he gets enough credit. So yeah, there was that. It's on Prime Video. That Eye of the Beholder, I think it's called, is the documentary about Dave Arneson, and it goes into Major Wesley, who actually came up with the idea for tabletop role playing. It was actually David Wesley, also known as Major Wesley, who came up with a game called Bronstein. I don't know which way he pronounces it, and it was basically medieval rules for tabletop role playing in wargaming. And then Arneson took that and decided to make Blackmore based upon that, and then it became D&D. When Gary got involved, he created D&D, or they created D&D, but it all started with Major Wesley. He's the one who really came up with the idea for tabletop role playing. So, if you haven't already seen that documentary, it's definitely worth checking out. So, I was surprised. We actually had a pretty good turnout tonight. Because I didn't announce this ahead of time. I just decided to do a live tonight, and that's what it was. It was the Secrets of Black. Was it Secrets of Blackmore, or maybe there was a couple of them. There might have been one also called Eye of the Beholder. Yeah, the Secrets of Blackmore, I think, is the one I'm thinking of, and then there was also a separate one called Eye of the Beholder. I think, if I'm trying to remember my documentaries here, but so, and what was funny was I got to meet David Wesley at GaryCon, and he told me that whole story before that movie ever came out. That's right, Eye of the Beholder is about the art. Okay, got it. Thank you. But he told me the story standing there at GaryCon about, and I bought a copy of Bronstein that he had there, and he signed it for me, so I've got that. And I was pretty fascinated with the whole idea of how it came about and everything. Bastille says Wesley plays games locally prior to COVID here in Roseville, Minnesota. Okay, so you know him too, then? He seems like a great guy. I mean, that was the impression I got anyway. I've never heard any bad words said about him. So I think we owe him a debt of gratitude for him kind of coming up with the idea of because Bronstein was basically a war game, but then he said, well, what if the players could take control of somebody on the battlefield and play that role? And that was where it kind of all, blew up from there. So, because that's when Arneson got involved and said, hey, this is kind of a cool idea. We could do this with like, wizards and warriors and shit like that. So, all right, guys. Well, does anybody, we got about 5 minutes left. Anybody got any last minute topics they want addressed? Any questions? I think we covered most of the gaming news stuff. Yeah, I was surprised about that. So if you weren't here earlier, and you didn't hear about the Star Wars games on Steam are on sale for May the 4th. So if you do not already have some, you may want to check that out. My library is pretty full on all the Star Wars stuff. So yeah. Yeah, I've got because they've even got collections. They got Star Wars the complete collection, the Jedi Knight collection, the classic collection. I've got all those the bundles, so I'm good. Beth says I don't know him. I got to meet him at the Secrets of Black. Oh, you got to go to the premiere. Wow. Colin says, anyone played Far Cry 6? It's on sale now. Thank you for letting me know that. I'm probably going to get it because it's the only one in the series I don't have, and I was waiting for it to go on sale. So is that, Colin, is that through the Epic Game Store, or did you go directly through like Ubisoft? Because I know it's not on Steam. I wish it was on Steam. Bipedal says, sweet, loaded up some credit up, but most of my stuff is old and on Xbox. Gotta go for PC now. Nice. Yeah, I didn't. I'm jealous you got to go to that, man. Yeah, I'll probably do it through Uplay too, Colin. Because I think I have a couple of other ones of the Far Cry series through Uplay. I wish they, you know, were all interconnected with Steam and I could buy it on Steam, but they signed a deal with Epic or whatever. So, you know, I got to see what that price is though. I have not played the new Dune RTS. I'm not a big RTS player. So, has anybody else played it in here that could speak about it? Because yeah, I'm not a big RTS person, but yeah, the real time strategy stuff, like StarCraft and the what was it, the Total War series and all that, could never really get into them. Let's make sure I didn't miss anything here. All right, well, I am gonna call it then, guys, because I gotta go get some dinner. Colin says I still play Age of Empires 2. Um, I played the first one quite a bit. I haven't played the second one, Colin. After 20 years of skill development, I still suck. Yes, cheers. Um, AOE AOK was the best. Then Star Wars. Is that Star Wars Galactic Battlefield or something like that? Um. Anyway, yeah. Not the RTS guy here. So Galactic Battlegrounds. Okay. Nice. Well, I'm gonna head out, guys. I will keep the chat open if you guys can keep talking about RTS stuff and all that. And I will catch you guys on the flip side. We'll do Thursday's another live. So see you, Jesse. If I missed anybody, I apologize. I try to catch everybody in the chat to make sure I um, acknowledge everyone. But if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. Catch you guys.